She adjusted the strap of her bag and walked away, that was all. No scene in the hallway, no raised voice, no door left open for the argument to breathe. Marielle had said what she said, it's a family thing, you understand. And Nora had nodded once, the way you nod when someone tells you a restaurant is closed and you weren't even that hungry. The drive home took 20 minutes. She counted the traffic lights without meaning to. 7 red, 3 green. One that she sat through twice because she'd forgotten to watch it change. What Marielle hadn't known, perhaps had simply stopped tracking, was the shape of the last 8 months. It was Nora who'd found the photographer, a quiet woman named Celeste, who shot film on weekends and had a waiting list 18 months long. Nora had called in a favor from a colleague whose cousin had been Celeste's college roommate. She'd paid the deposit herself, $1,500 on a Tuesday afternoon while eating lunch at her desk, thinking it would make Marielle cry in the good way. It was Nora who'd set up the joint card when Marielle's fiancé, Graham, had mentioned, once casually, at a dinner Nora had also cooked, that the decor budget was getting complicated to manage. She'd added them both, said nothing further. The card had absorbed $11,000 in tablecloths, candles, a custom arch, and 2 rounds of flower samples before Nora stopped counting. The registry contributions were quiet things. She didn't attach notes, none of this had been discussed. That was its own language, the one the sisters had always spoken, or the one Nora had always believed they shared. Turns out you can be fluent in something alone. She made the calls after 10, when the apartment had gone still. Celeste picked up on the second ring. Nora explained simply the event had changed. She was sorry for the short notice and would cover any applicable cancellation costs personally. Celeste was gracious. She said she hoped everything was all right, and Nora said yes, everything was fine, and both of them understood that to be only partially true. The registry was easier. 2 clicks. A confirmation email arrived in seconds, cheerful and automated, completely indifferent to the circumstances. The card took the longest, not because it was complicated, but because she sat with her hand resting on her laptop for a moment longer than necessary. On the kitchen counter, her mother's old mug sat empty. It had a hairline crack running from the handle almost to the base, a crack that had been there so long it had become structural, part of what held it together rather than evidence of damage. She closed the account, shut the laptop, went to bed. The texts began at 6:47 a.m. She read them in sequence, coffee in hand, the mug warm against her palm. They arrived in clusters, first confused, then searching, then with an urgency that made her think of water finding a crack as Celeste is saying the booking was canceled. Asterisk, Nora, did you do something? The decor card is frozen. We can't reach anyone. Please call me. Why are the vendors canceling Nora? Nora 31 messages by the time she set the cup down. She read them all, not with satisfaction exactly, what more the way you read something you wrote long ago and recognize finally what you were actually trying to say. She typed back 4 words. It's a family thing. She put the phone face down and finished her coffee. Marielle called twice. Nora let it ring, not out of cruelty. She examined that impulse carefully, turned it over, checked its edges. But because there was nothing left in her that wanted to have the conversation in real time, with Graham in the background and the wedding 6 weeks out and everyone's emotions running at performance pitch. Whatever needed to be said could be said slowly. Or not at all. Both were complete sentences. What she hadn't anticipated was the particular quality of the silence that followed. It wasn't peaceful exactly. She wouldn't have called it that. There was still the low hum of something unresolved, the way a note holds in a room after the instrument is stopped. But underneath it, something had loosened. Some constant background tension she'd been so accustomed to that she'd mistaken it for her own personality. She took a longer route to work, noticed the light on a building she passed every day, bought coffee from a place she'd always meant to try. Her mother had given her the mug the Christmas before she died. It wasn't expensive or carefully chosen. It was the kind of thing pulled from a cabinet when someone forgets to bring a gift, wrapped in last year's tissue paper. But her mother had handed it over with both hands, the way you hand someone something fragile, and Nora had understood even then that the gesture was the gift. I thought about that sometimes, how some things get offered quietly, without ceremony, and how you either recognize that or you don't. Marielle texted once more that evening, calmer now, a single message, no punctuation, can we talk? Nora looked at it for a long time. Outside, the late light was doing something gold across the floor, that particular hour when the whole apartment looked like somewhere worth staying. She typed, when you're ready to not yes, not forgiveness. Just a door, slightly open, unforced, with no promise about what either of them would find on the other side. She set the phone down, picked up the mug, held it the way her mother had, with both hands.